Hi all, welcome back to another episode of Visually Impaired Adventures. Today I'll be covering my GoPro and how I use that. So I've got a GoPro Hero 8 Black, which we can see on the side here. I found it a fantastic little camera to have. It's nice and small, it's not too heavy. There's some tactile buttons on it, so if we run our hands from the back of the camera, so this is the front of the camera, for simplicity, front of the camera, spin around, back of the camera. On the left hand side, there's, if we run our hands down, you can probably hear there's plastic, and you can hear that there's a section of scratching that's not so audible, and that's going to be our button to turn on the camera. This is our button to turn it on. We've got a little small screen, which is not too easy for most of us to see, but I often use this with the camera, with the GoPro Connect app. I think they call it Quick now. I use that on my mobile or my tablet. It's easy to change mode, so if I swipe from right to left, I can go to photo, left to right, back to video, left to right again, and then we go into time lapse. But if I'll swipe right to left again, because I mainly use this in camera mode. Video mode. I just leave this in the standard setting. There's a few different settings you can put it in, but I just leave it in standard. And with the smoothness on, it's pretty easy. There's a large bump on the top of the camera, which is actually the record button for the camera, so we can see that that's recording. And the cool part about the 8 is if we spin this around, on the front screen we can see a counter that counts up when we're in record mode recording. So if I press stop now, we can see that the red light flashes and the timer stops. So there's a red light on front and back of this camera that I keep on, that way I can look for the red light that's flashing either in the top left. Actually it's top left in both front and back, which is pretty good for myself and for anybody else that's using it. On its own, this camera is waterproof to 10 meters and is drop resistant. You can break it if you drop it, but it's generally supposed to not break. On the bottom we've got some flip out connection tabs. So these, I'll show you what the connectors are for in a minute, but they fold up and you can get replacement ones if you break them. On the other side, on the right hand side of the camera, we've got a little flick down tab and out pops the battery door. So in this section we've got the battery. This is the GoPro battery. I've got 3 batteries for this, only one of them is the actual GoPro. We've also got our little pop out micro SD card. I run 128s in my cameras, that way I've got plenty of room. I'll run out of battery before I run out of storage, provided I've cleared off the card. Yeah, it's a pretty good little camera. One thing they did with the Hero 8 that they then changed on the 9s and the 10 is the lens isn't interchangeable or removable. So if I get a scratch on the lens, I've got to send off the whole camera off to a repair shop to get it repaired. I can't just buy, I think it's about $20 for a replacement lens for a 9 or a 10. That's something I'm looking at getting in the future sometime, is maybe a 9 or a 10, probably a 10. They seem to have less issues. Not that there's too many problems with them, depending on what you want to use them for. So over here I've got a dive housing, which is what they sell them as. It's just a fully sealed, I think it's acrylic case. The camera only goes in one way, and when it seals like that, it's got a rubber seal that goes all the way around. The camera is now waterproof to 50 meters, and it's got a massive shell on it to protect it. And on the shell we've got our little connector tabs to connect it to different things. We've got waterproof buttons to do the different bits and pieces. So if I press the side button, camera turns on, and we can still read the screens through the case, which is awesome. And again, we've got our top button to record and stop recording. The audio is not really diminished through the camera, through the case, which is really good. So these little tabs, I've been mentioning them before, they go into our little connectors. So if I bring my 3 connectors I got out here for demos. So these are action camera or GoPro connectors, whatever you'd like to call them. There's so many different ones, but they're generally 3 vertical tabs with a hole drilled through them, which is easy to show. On this one there's a little hole that drilled through them. And that's for a thumb screw to go through. So these two are thumb screws. This is a proper GoPro thumb screw. It's got like a square shape to it, which is pretty good. And then this is a knockoff that I brought in my eBay kit for accessories. But it still works well, and I've got some nice tabs to tighten it up. So these tabs all go together. Doesn't matter which way. I can mount it in this way, or I can mount it in reverse. And when you get them lined up, the screw goes through all the tabs like that, and you can tighten it up. So when that gets tightened up, it gets difficult to move, or you can fully tighten it and you pretty much can't move it. Something I got with my GoPro, or the accessories kit, I can't remember which one it was. It's like a little spanner for the thumb screws, so if I don't drop it I can use it. So this just goes over the end and makes it so much easier for loosening or tightening them up, which is pretty good. And it's got, I just noticed it's got a little spanner in there as well, like a hex spanner, which is pretty good as well. So these little mounts, what are they good for? These are good for all sorts of stuff, different things. This one I'm holding in my hands has a threaded mount to go onto the top of a tripod or an adapter. This one clips in to different mounts, so it's got two little tabs that fold in to and allow it to connect and disconnect. And this is very much similar to the one I just picked up, but this is raised up, so if I move some of those back you can get the contrast to see the design there. So this allows the camera to go in like every other mount that I've got, but it allows it to lay flat. So if I was to clip into it on a vertical mount, I can actually have the camera facing out, which is really good. Again, it's got the little tabs in the bottom there that fold in. And so what I've been talking about mounts. So this is a wrist mount. So it's got a little Velcro strap that goes around your wrist. It's got the three little tabs for the thumb screw to go through and connect to the case or the camera. This is a bicycle helmet mount. And you might notice it's got two little ridged pieces. So this is, for example, this little one can slide in from one side. You can hear the click and it's secure. So this is a quick release, so I fold in these tabs I was showing you before, and when I fold them in enough and apply pressure, the mount just slides out again, and I can quickly change the camera from this mount to, for example, this chest mount, which I might use this one for the example, the big tall one. So if we bring that center of camera, if we bring that in, click it in place, I can get the camera now, feed it on, and as I'm wearing that on my chest, you can see the straps go over the top and around the chest. The camera now points straight out, which is fantastic because you can get that point of view. I've got a few other mounts, but yeah, I'm not going to cover them in this video. You might have seen them in other bits and pieces or seen what kind of angle they can get, which is pretty good. The batteries I've noticed last half hour, 45 minutes, depending on what settings you've got. I've got 3 of them, which is pretty good, because if I've got a charger facility nearby, I can just continually cycle through the batteries, almost. Not that I want to create that much content. I don't want to create too much content. When I first started out, I was filming for anywhere between 2, 3, 4, anywhere up to 6 hours in a day to release a 10-15 minute video. I've decided to try and cut down the amount of footage I've got to go through so that I can get the videos out to you guys. But yeah, this is my GoPro and some of its connectors. It's quite easy for myself to use. Yeah, thank you.